Python is one of the best programming languages to learn right now. In this video, we are going to see what makes it so powerful. We will also see some of the most common use cases and different aspects of the language. First things first, as per Stack Overflow's Programmer's Annual Survey in 2020, Python is the fastest growing programming language, surpassing Java. So you can estimate the popularity among programmers. You can also see the numbers on the slide. Almost 41% actually uses Python, and this is the top ranked programming language in terms of the backend. You can see the JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and SQL, which are like not specific to a programming language, like a backend programming language. So Python is right there on the top. So the most important question, which has like many reasons, why Python? We're going to look into different aspects now. It's extremely easy to learn, which is the reason it's widely taught as a first programming language to kids and new programmers. It has a very simple and human-friendly syntax. It's actually a go-to language for kids, according to my suggestion, if you're planning for the same. Web development. So this is the most famous use case for Python, and this is why it's very popular. It has been very popular for very long. There are powerful frameworks like Django, Flask, and so on that makes programming and web application development so easy. So we are going to learn about that later in the video. Let's move on. System scripting. System administrator and programmers really love Python because it has a very simple syntax and allows them to automate their repetitive tasks like configuring a new server. It's very simple. They can write an interactive script that can install all the required packages, configure different things, and then all in all set up a box which is like up and running, and they can repeat all those steps via their written scripts. So it's very handy for system programmers and system administrators. The next thing is data science, and this is one of the biggest things why Python is actually popular and why probably some of you actually are interested in Python just because of the data science and its great support for the data science. Python has actually risen above the rest of the programming languages as far as data science is concerned. It offers a lot of powerful libraries that assist data manipulation, advanced mathematical functions, image processing, file processing, and so on. All in all, that assist data science. There's also huge support for computer vision and image processing, or everything related to machine learning and so on. It's actually a strong base for artificial intelligence, machine learning as a whole. So it actually has a lot of support. We're going to take a look at that later on. Portability is also another aspect where Python is so great. It's actually in most of the system, it's actually built in. You don't even have to install it. Maybe probably you will want to have a latest version and so on, that we can always do. But by default, you will see in Linux, Unix systems, Mac, and so on, that the language is already there. It's actually even supported in Raspberry Pi. So if you're hacking to automate something, you're writing some home appliances, some crazy automations in your home, and you're actually using Raspberry Pi, good news is that Python is also available there, and you can just learn one language and actually spread across all your devices and all platforms. It's actually very good news. Simple syntax is another reason which I mentioned also during easy to learn, because it has no difficulty around curly brackets. I came from PHP background, so I know what's the hassle. There is a lot of fight around how exactly you should structure your code and so on. There is a lot of that kind of like confusion, but with Python it has actually reduced one level already, because it fixes the syntax with simple indentation. You can always just indent properly and there is no issue at all. Also, it's actually a very human readable language. It actually uses very natural English, so you can write whatever. It's actually very close to your understanding in general, the way you write English. So we're going to learn and look into that later. Python supports different coding styles like patterns, including procedural, object-oriented, or functional programming ways. You can follow whatever you are more comfortable with. Web development, as I said, this is the most common use case in Python. This is one of the reasons why Python is admired and used across the web. So we can look into that. To build a website or web API, you don't really need a framework per se, but more or less, like it's actually has become a norm that sophisticated frameworks are used on and commonly used across the web fraternity. A framework, in a layman's language, is a simple collection of most used components. So you don't have to rebuild the building blocks each time you touch a new application or a use case. So, for example, if you have to build an application and you need authentication, and for almost all applications you will need authentications, so there is no need for you to actually rewrite authentication if somebody has already written. So for that we have framework. So let's move on to the first one, Django. It's actually a very powerful framework. It's one of my favorites as well. Like it offers great tools to quickly build websites and web APIs. You can build RESTful APIs very easily. We will learn that later on in a separate video. For now, this is just an introductory video. It has built-in support for things like templates, authentication, routing, database. It has a very good ORM. It's very powerful, very nice, easy to use ORM. So we will learn all of that later on. That's high level about Django. Flask is another framework. This is something that I started my Python journey with, like with Flask, not Django. Flask is very lightweight. It has a nature for like bare minimum having something like up and running almost immediately. You can have just one module and that can serve a kind of like a web APIs. It's for microservices primarily, and I would say that if you're beginning with Python and you are building web APIs, don't get into Django just yet. Get into Flask, learn it a little bit, and then move on, and then explore everything else in the Python world. For now, it's important to understand the Flask has very small kind of structure, so you can comprehend it very easily. If you want to add authentication or similar other things, you might have to use Flask extensions or additional libraries, which are like widely available. You don't have to break your head around that. It's just that you will Google it and you will get like plenty of libraries that you can kind of like add on top of Flask to do things. The next thing is data science. We already had a high level of introduction about data science. So now we will look at some of the common packages in data science and what is their role. So NumPy, you would have often seen that dealing with data, big data, and huge amount of like streaming data and so on, it's actually a complex task. It's not so easy. So Python has something like NumPy. It's a great package. It actually adds support for large mostly structured like dimensional like arrays and matrices that you and the focus is actually to solve mathematical problems. Like once you have the data in a series, you can actually perform various mathematical operations. You probably have different kind of situations. We will learn about Python NumPy later on, but for now, high level is like it actually is an extension of arrays. It gives support to perform mathematical operations in a very nice way. Most of the data science libraries that are out there, they make use of NumPy. So NumPy is a base for all the other libraries. So it's important that you go through the basics and learn how NumPy works. We will actually also have a video about that. Pandas, this is the second most important thing that you should have if you're exploring data science in general. It is used to easily work with different data structures to analyze data. However, mostly data is tabular. It's actually also built on top of NumPy. So quick example that NumPy, it validates that NumPy is like so critical for your data science journey. It provides powerful tools to analyze, compare, and manipulate data, which means like you can do variety of things with your data. You can think of like in-memory Excel. If you're familiar with Excel, that you can do a lot of function formulas and so on Excel. Similarly, pandas, you can do similar stuff. It has one-dimensional as well as two-dimensional data. For two-dimensional, it's called data frames, and data frames has like variety of use cases. And if you come from a SQL background, you can think of data frames where you can almost apply where clauses, you can filter, you can do many things. We will learn that data frames part later. It also has like one dimensional, which are series. So that's pandas. The next thing is PyTorch. PyTorch is actually very sophisticated, very advanced machine learning library out there. It offers comprehensive tooling to work on computer vision, natural language, and natural language processing. It was actually built by Facebook, but then they realized like it can help others, so they open sourced it. It's very powerful. So we will learn about that also later on. Um, Charting or plotting is actually a very common use case in data science, because to analyze you need to plot that in different ways. So you can look at the data aggregation, you look at different aspects and so on. Even for predictive analysis and so on, you actually need some sort of charting which can actually help you visualize the data. So matplotlib is actually very powerful in that aspect. It's one of the most famous plotting library out there. It has variety of chart types. It can help you create static, dynamic, or interactive visualizations almost in no time. You just have to write couple of lines. You have data set, you write couple of lines, and you get very nice charts. The next one is Plotly, which is also a plotting library. It's very similar to Matplotlib. It offers powerful charts. This is not the video where I will compare both of them. It's just that I'm a bit tilted towards Plotly of late, and that's why I have mentioned this library as well. If you're looking to explore, look into both of them and make up your mind. We will post a comparison video very soon on this topic as well. So that's all about data science most powerful or most common packages or libraries. For now, that's pretty much. It was an introductory video. This video was only about to build your interest in Python and to show what exactly is Python in a nutshell, very high level. We are preparing some other lectures which are going to be there. So keep following the channel and keep supporting our videos. For now, that's pretty much. And thank you so much. Goodbye.